Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Brentwood Board of Education special meeting this Wednesday, March 6th. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to convene the special meeting at 6:37 p.m.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon Garcia. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Maria Malave. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby suspends the order of business for this meeting and this meeting only according to policy 2350. I need a motion. Motion by Eileen Harmon. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Cindy Seferi. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? So moved. B2B, negative declaration resolution for purchase of 1734 Brentwood Road. Resolution of the Board of Education of the Brentwood Union Free School District, determining that purpose of real estate property at 1734 Brentwood Road for district purposes will not have a significant adverse environmental impact. Whereas the Brentwood Union Free School District, the district, is proposing to purchase certain real property in the town of Islip, County of Suffolk, identified as tax map parcel number 160.2-71, and more commonly known as 1734 Brentwood Road, the premises, for future use for district purposes, the action. And whereas the premises is approximately 1.77 acres in size and improved with a vacant 52,724 square foot, one-story on-slab masonry constructed church and community facility building, and whereas the action involves no physical disturbance of land or modifications to the interior or exterior of the buildings on the premises, and whereas the district desires to comply with the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, as set forth in Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, and the requirements of the implementing regulations set forth at 6 NYCRR Part 617, the regulations, with respect to the action and to determine whether undertaking the action may have a significant adverse environmental impact. And whereas, in furtherance of this objective, the district prepared a short environmental assessment form, the EAF, and by resolution dated January 18, 2024, the district declared its intention to serve as lead agency, as that term is defined in the regulations, for purposes of undertaking a coordinated review of the action under SEQRA, and whereas pursuant to the regulations, the district caused a letter part 1 of the EAF to be sent for review and comment to each involved agency, as that term is defined in the regulations, indicating the district's intention to serve as lead agency and to complete the coordinated review of the project in accordance with Section 617.6 of the regulations. And whereas pursuant to the regulations, the district has considered the significance of the potential environmental impacts of the action by A, using the criteria specified in Section 617.7 of the regulations, and B, examining the EAF for the action together with the available supporting information to identify the relevant areas of environmental concern, and C, thoroughly analyzing the identified areas of relevant environmental concern. Now, therefore, be it resolved that based upon an examination of the EAF and other available supporting information, and considering both the magnitude and importance of each relevant area of environmental concern, and based further upon the district's knowledge of the area surrounding the action and such further investigation of the action and its potential environmental impacts as the district has deemed appropriate, the district makes the following findings and determinations. 1, the action is described above and in the EAF, and 2, the action constitutes an unlisted action as the quoted term is defined in the regulations. 3, the district has completed Part 2 and Part 3 of the short EAF as required by the regulations and has determined that no significant adverse environmental impacts are noted in the EAF for the action and none are known to the district. And 4, therefore, the district hereby determines that the action will not have a significant adverse environmental impact and the district will not require the preparation of an environmental impact statement with respect to the action. And 5, the information available concerning the action was sufficient for the board to make its determination. And 6, as a consequence of the foregoing, the district approves the attached negative declaration and authorizes the superintendent to cause the negative declaration to be filed and distributed in accordance with SECRA and the regulations, and to maintain copies of the negative declaration in the district office in a file that will be readily accessible to the public. And 7, a copy of the EAF and this resolution shall be provided to the New York State Education Department. And 8, the district will continue to comply with the New York State Education Department guidelines for school district implementation of the State Environmental Quality Review, SECRA, and associated changes in the SED building permit process, which requires consultation with the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon Garcia. I need a second. Second by Eileen Harmon. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? So moved. Sorry, it's a lot of reading. B2C, purchase and sale agreement by and between WT Kojic, Inc. and Brentwood Union Free School District. Resolution of the Board of Education of the Brentwood Union Free School District to approve entering into a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of the real property located at 1734 Brentwood Road, Brentwood, New York. Whereas the Board of Education of the Brentwood Union Free School District, the board and the district respectively, is proposing to purchase certain real property in the town of Islip, County of Suffolk, identified as tax map parcel number 160.2-71, and more commonly known as 1734 Brentwood Road, the premises from WT Kojic, Inc., seller, for future use for district purposes. And whereas the district proposes to purchase the premises pursuant to the terms, conditions, and contingencies of that certain proposed purchase and sale agreement. And whereas the district has obtained a property appraisal that reflects the fair market value of the premises. And whereas the district has complied with the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, as set forth in Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, and the requirements of the implementing regulations set forth at 6 NYCRR Part 617, the regulations, with respect to the proposed purchase, and determine that the purchase of the premises will not have a significant adverse environmental impact. And whereas the district will require voter approval to purchase the premises. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the board that the board finds that the acquisition of the premises is in the best interest of the district. 2, the purchase price represents the fair market value of the premises based upon current market conditions. 3, prior to closing on the premises, the district shall obtain the approval of the eligible voters of the district. 4, the superintendent and/or members of the board, as appropriate or as otherwise required by law, are hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to execute the purchase and sale agreement, and to execute and deliver such documents and take all such action on behalf of the district as may be deemed necessary, appropriate, or advisable to carry out the intent or purposes of the foregoing resolutions. 5, the execution, delivery, and performance by the superintendent and/or members of the board, as appropriate or as otherwise required by law, for and on behalf of the district, of all such further instruments and documents required in connection with the sale of the premises, each in form and substance approved by the superintendent and/or members of the board, as appropriate or as otherwise required by law, his or her signature thereon being conclusive evidence of such approval, are hereby in all respects approved, adopted, and authorized by and on behalf of the district. 6, the foregoing resolutions shall remain in full force and effect until a copy of a subsequent resolution revoking or amending them, duly certified by the proper officers of the board, shall be made by the board. 7, this resolution shall be effective immediately. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Cindy Seferi. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Maria Malave. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstentions, so moved. B2D, overnight field trip. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the following overnight field trip. Be it further resolved that all students will be required to make up any work missed due to this activity, and the submission of appropriate permission slips by parent or guardian will be required. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon Garcia. I need a second. Second by Eileen Harmon. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstentions, so moved. D1A, appointments, resignations, and leaves, certificated personnel. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the certificated personnel action report contained in the board packet for the March 6, 2024 special board meeting. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon Garcia. I need a second. Second by Eileen Harmon. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Noes? Abstentions? Cindy, you abstain?
Yes.
So moved. D1B, appointments, resignations, and leaves, non-certificated personnel. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the non-certificated personnel action report contained in the board packet for the March 6, 2024 special board meeting. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon Garcia. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Maria Malave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Noes? Abstentions? So moved. I need a motion to adjourn the special meeting and enter into the budget workshop at 6:49 p.m.
Motion.
Motion by Cindy Seferi. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Eileen Harmon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay.
Good evening. So tonight we have here the Special Services Department. We have our Assistant Superintendent, Rhonda Young, and she's going to present her budget presentation. And she's here with her dynamic duos. Many duos here, right? With her dynamic team. So go ahead, Rhonda.
Okay. Good evening, Brentwood. Welcome to our 2024-2025 informal budget workshop presentation. Again, I'm Rhonda Young. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Special Services, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Education President Eileen Felix, First Vice President Julia Burgos, Second Vice President Cynthia Seferi, Trustees Hassan Ahmed, Eileen Harmon, Brandon Garcia, and Maria Malave. Our wonderful Superintendent, Ms. Wanda Ortiz Rivera, Cabinet, administrators, teachers, staff, parents, students, and the entire Brentwood community for your confidence, collaboration, and unwavering support. We are Brentwood, here and now, empowering students, elevating success, and providing accountability. The district has been committed to ensuring access and inclusive opportunities for students with disabilities since 1967, when the district hired its first Director of Special Services, the late and great Mr. Howard Brodsky. The office relocated to central administration. The office relocated to central administration to 795 Wisconsin Avenue, Bayshore in 1986, where we continue to operate today. Our administrative team consists of myself April Sinise, Coordinator of Special Services Secondary. We currently have one open position for the Coordinator of Special Services Elementary Department Head of Speech and Hearing. Sean Coffin, Coordinator of Health, Psychological, and Social Work Services. 3 assistant coordinators, Kimberly Clark, Denise Farrow, and Elizabeth Sheehan. Medical Director, Susan Averso. Administrative Nurse Practitioner, Helene D'Agostino. Special Education Department Head, Ingrid Citron. And finally, our Special Education Transition Coordinator, Dr. Karen Gross. Our vision is to provide individualized educational programs that address each student's academic, social, emotional, and physical needs in the least restrictive environment, to provide inclusive opportunities for our children, to serve as a resource to parents and families, and to improve post-secondary outcomes by preparing students for further education and employment and independent living. The total special services staff is 491, including administrators, teachers, related service providers, support staff, clericals, and nurses. Understanding our purpose starts with understanding the law. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is a law designed to ensure services for children with disabilities. To meet this obligation, IDEA governs how states and local education agencies provide early intervention, special education, and related services to more than 6.5 million infants, toddlers, children, and youth with disabilities. Infants and toddlers with disabilities birth to age 2 receive services under IDEA Part C funding, and children and youth ages 3 through 21 receive special education and related services through IDEA Part B funding. Essential principles of the IDEA mandate include child find, the district's obligation to identify, locate, and evaluate students with disabilities. The educational program of students with a disability must be based on an individualized evaluation and determination of eligibility. Students with disabilities are entitled to a free and appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. Students, regardless of how severe the disability is. The confidentiality and personally identifiable information of the students must be protected. Personnel hired to provide special education and related services must be highly qualified, and parents' and students' rights must be protected. What does the least restrictive environment mean? This means that students with disabilities should be in the same classroom as their general education peers as much as possible. If you look at the pyramid above, the least restrictive environment starts with the regular ed classroom, but as you go up to the top of the pyramid, you could see, based on the student's needs, that environment may become more restrictive. The most restrictive environment of students that we service is in the residential setting. The Child Find mandate also includes the CSE process. This process starts when we receive consent to evaluate from the parent or legal guardian. Once consent is received, we have 60 days to evaluate and determine eligibility. After eligibility has been determined, we have 30 days to provide services after receipt of a CSE recommendation. The CSE will meet annually to review the student's program, placement, and progress, and students must be reevaluated every 3 years.
Some state performance plan indicators, the IDEA Part B. Oh, I got my, okay, sorry. Can you hear me from here? The IDEA Part B requires that the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs monitor each state's implementation of IDEA. To do so, each state is required to develop and submit a 6-year performance plan. The accountability includes 17 different measures. Some are measures of student outcomes, others are measures based on compliance with the Part 200 indicators. They all fall under 3 areas of priority. One is the free appropriate public education, which we generally refer to as FAPE in the least restrictive environment, disproportionality, and a general supervision over Part B and Part C funding. The state set forth rigorous and measurable annual targets. Some, again, are results based on student outcomes. Others are based on compliance indicators. Each year, the state must report those results in an annual performance report. They get their reporting information from each district. That information is in the pupil data system. The pupil data system is an online tool where we collect, verify, and certify all of our special education data. Information in this system is represented in verification reports, pupil data forms, and a self-review checklist. Verification data displayed in this PD system is pulled from the SERS data warehouse. PD forms and checklists are completed by the LEA, or the local education agency. There are 2 PD certification periods each year. One is based on Beds Day, and the other is based on the end of year reporting. January certification, verification reports 1 through 6 and 8 use the Beds Day data, and August and September are reported based on the end of the school year certification, and those are VR reports numbers 11 through 16. They use data, even though they're reported with the end of the year snapshot, they do use the data from the entire school year. The special education Beds Day snapshot is combined with the enrollment and demographic information. It gets combined, it gets uploaded through the PD system, different levels, level 0, level 1, level 2, and then it reaches the pupil data system. And from there, our information is reported and also feeds into information for 611 and 619 SEDCAR funding, flow-through funding.
And I'd like to thank Denise because, and Lisa Landry, they help out a lot with that process. So let's take a look at our data. According to the January enrollment figures for school-age students attending in-district programs, there were 2,621 in-district students receiving services. 59% of the students receiving services are placed in our most restrictive setting. This means that 1,550 out of the 2,621 students are educated in the special class placement. We would like to see that number reduced to ensure that our children are educated in the least restrictive environment whenever possible. Students attending our out-of-district K through 12 programs increased by 12.8% since last year and by over 23% in 3 years. This is due to an increase of students with autism, aggressive behaviors, elopement, social anxiety, school refusal, and depression. We are currently working with the Brentwood Teachers Association to create opportunities for teachers to receive additional training in de-escalation techniques to help address behavioral needs. We are also exploring other options to help deal with these behaviors that I will discuss later in my presentation. The number of students receiving resource room in other districts decreased. This is typically our students attending parochial schools. There was a 15.8% increase in the number of students attending approved preschool programs. This number increased by over 45% in 3 years. The increase in preschool enrollment caused many preschool programs to run out of space in Nassau and Suffolk counties. This year, we decided to expand to offer 4 additional preschool classes in our early intervention program to maintain compliance and provide our preschoolers with additional academic support. We received approval in late January, and we look forward to opening those classes up on March 25th. Students receiving related services only in our preschool programs increased by nearly 17% since last year and 59.5% over 3 years. The total number of students served in our out-of-district program increased by 37.5% in over 3 years. The total number of students served this year is 3,730, including in-district, out-of-district, related service only, and 504 combined. The number of students we served at this time last year increased by 6.3%. That's 223 more students. And a 9.9% over 3 years, that's 339 more students.
As the number of students we serve increases, so does the number of meetings we are required to conduct. The total number of meetings held increased primarily due to annual reviews, new referrals, and program reviews. Most program reviews were requested to assist students by providing additional supports, services, and for consideration of a placement change to a more restrictive environment. During the 2022-2023 school year, we had a total of 391 new referrals. The year prior, we only had a total of 254. That is an increase of 53.9%. Over 3 years, that number increased by 76.1%. The total number of meetings held increased by 7.4% since the year prior and 15.2% over 3 years. There was a small decrease in new referrals, CPSC meetings from the year prior. However, there was a 76.9% increase in new referral meetings for preschool over the past 3 years. The total number of CPSE meetings increased by nearly 9%, and there was a 79.4% increase in the total number of CPSE meetings over 3 years due to new referrals, annual reviews, and increased enrollment. The number of CSE and CPSE meetings combined increased by nearly 8% since last year. This is an increase of 374 additional meetings from the year prior. Most meetings require a minimum of 4 staff members. Each meeting lasts a minimum of 30 minutes. However, some meetings far exceed the scheduled time. As a result, we limit the number of meetings scheduled in one day to 6 for new referrals and 10 for all other meetings. Last year, a total of 470 meeting days were scheduled and chaired by only 20 CSE chairpeople, and 168 CPSE meeting days were chaired by 4 people. We scheduled approximately 638 full meeting days last year combined. That number does not include 504 meetings.
And just to understand that those meetings are happening simultaneously, so there may be 4 to 5 meeting days scheduled for each chairperson on the same day, but we count them as days. So I know it sounds weird when you say 600 meeting days, when we only have, 180 school days. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So professional development. Some professional development opportunities offered to teachers include Picture Exchange Communication System, otherwise known as PECS, IEP Case Management and Progress Monitoring, Dyslexia Awareness and Microsoft Learning Tools, IEP Case Management and Progress Monitoring, Annual Review Training, which is mandated each year, IEP Goal Writing. This year we focused on aligning the IEP goals with the New York State Learning Standards, or the Next Gen Learning Standards. Unique Learning is a curriculum that our New York State alternate assessed students use, and we trained teachers on the reading supports that are included in that program. Varied models of integrated co-teaching, diploma pathways for students with disabilities,
Adult agencies.
Adult Agencies 101, reevaluation tools for New York State's alternate assessed students, Spire reading supports, and we did that in partnership with the ELA department. We say all of this to say that we are getting the job done and have proven results. We improved reading support by providing Spire and Sunday reading system, training to our staff and instruction to our students. increase professional development opportunities for teachers and staff, increase the use of assistive technology, improved our processes and procedures, increased protocols to ensure accountability, improved our capacity to serve, expanded transition opportunities, expanded mental health support, completed building renovations, and even expanded our parking lot. We increased support staff and expanded our early intervention program, or EIP. One of the initiatives that we are most proud of is our More Than a Purple Dot opening day presentation, which took place district-wide. We provided training to help staff better support students with disabilities in the least restrictive environment, and this happened in all buildings across the district simultaneously.
So unfortunately, Coordinator Sean Coffin couldn't be with us here tonight because unfortunately his father passed away. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I'll be presenting his slides. So if I fumble, please have patience. Crisis Prevention Institute CPI training. All principals, assistant principals, security guards were trained in CPI. This training teaches de-escalation techniques, communication skills, and strategies for preventing and managing crisis situations. CPI training aims to empower individuals to respond to situations in a way that is safe, respectful, and supportive of individuals in crisis. PM, Pediatric Care School Health, and Brentwood Union Free School District. Brentwood formed a school mental health partnership with PM Pediatrics this year. PM Pediatrics is a health care provider that specializes in pediatric health. The partnership with PM Pediatrics has helped us provide access to mental health professionals, such as child psychiatrists and psychologists, who work with students and their families to address mental health needs outside of school. PM Pediatrics has provided training to school staff when identifying and responding to mental health concerns and services and supports. Provided also include crisis follow-up, crisis intake, assessment, intervention, and referral. There have been over 935 health visits this school year, and 144 visits are scheduled for the remainder of March with PM Pediatrics. An average of 125 students have received services for therapy every month since November. PM opened a second location in Suffolk County to support Brentwood students. PM is currently operating in North Babylon and in Comac for in-person appointments. In response to the request made by our Brentwood team, PM extended their crisis line hours and are now open from 8:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. for calls. Virtual appointments are available until 8 p.m. weeknights. Saturday virtual appointments are available for air and crisis, including bilingual therapists. 95% of students referred are connected to ongoing care after crisis and therapy. A licensed crisis specialist presented 2 professional development trainings to school staff on assisting students with self-injurious behavior, new understandings and treatments. PM will schedule additional dates for the trauma-informed classroom for teachers. PM also launched a new request for services form to improve the school counseling team to therapist connection. Aaron's Law. On Superintendent's Conference Day last year, district psychologists and social workers provided staff development to teachers and other certified staff across the district to raise awareness on the new Aaron's Law mandate. Mr. Coffin worked with EAC to assist with the development of a scope and sequence for the implementation of Monique Burr Child Safety Matters. Sean Coffin presented Aaron's Law and implications for our district to building principals. On March 27th, the district will present information regarding the Aaron's Law mandate to parents. Identified staff to facilitate Erin's Law curriculum for elementary students will also be trained on March 27th. The district will partner with a non-for-profit network, Empower Assist Care, EAC, for the rollout of the Monique Burr Child Safety Matters Child Abuse Prevention Toolkit to address some aspects of the Erin's Law mandate for grades K through 5 in April of this year.
Okay, good evening. I am excited to talk to you about transition. So we're going to talk about like graduation and beyond, right? So preparing our next generation of leaders. So when we talk about transition, we're actually talking about post-secondary goals and what we're looking towards for after graduation. So we're looking at graduation as almost like a stepping stone. And our goal is to really show our students what their futures are while they're in school. So this is kind of exciting because we actually get to see students, find their passion for what they want to do after they graduate. So we do this in many different ways. One of them is by improving and building upon program that we already have. Another way is by increasing and expanding the opportunities that we are able to give to our students. So we'll look at that from experiences that we have through the Department of Labor, we'll talk about in a few minutes. Starting earlier, so this is actually one of the most important things that we wanted to implement this year is kind of bring services down to the elementary school, so we're kind of excited about that. We'll talk about that in pre-vocational kits that we're doing for students in the elementary school. We're also doing junior achievement that we're trying to do a district-wide initiative with, and through some of our agency work. Utilizing resources, so we have a wealth of amount of resources here in the district, so one of the things we want to do is kind of tap into those resources that we can here. And the other one is one of the most important is partnerships that we have with the community, with businesses, and with different agencies. So the first one, what we're talking about is improving and building upon. So World of Work is an amazing opportunity for a lot of our students to go out into the community to learn about different work readiness skills that they have and to kind of explore what they're interested in. So one of the things that we found is that we could expand on that. So we renegotiated our contract with the agency that we work with that provides services. So we went from having one job coach to having 2 job coaches, from serving from 4 to 8 students a year to serving actually almost 70 students. So we're doing that by increasing the number of students we have going out in high school, but also something exciting again, bringing it back. So we're in 3 of the middle schools right now, and we're in the freshman campus. So the job coaches alternate days going into those buildings, and we're having a lot of great success with that. So we also are finding that students were going to very similar job sites, so we're expanding that as well. So as you can see, these are just some of them. We have the Marriott, Big Lots, Pronto, Panera, Merchant Swag, we just started last week. We have students going in-house that aren't able to go out into the community. We find, different jobs throughout the buildings for our students.
And I just wanted to add that having a transition coordinator really helped us with this, because when Karen came in and she saw that CEO contract, she was like, oh no. She saw, because we were only sending a very little, very small amount of students out. And she says, you know what? Let's meet with Nick.
Yeah.
And he came in, we met with him, and he was able to provide us with a contract that included the job coaches, and it changed the game for us. So it was really powerful because the amount of money that we pay for CEO didn't change. So we're still getting, we're getting more service for the same amount of money. Yeah.
Yes, so one of the other things that I'm grateful for, this is going to be a game changer for a lot of our students, is the PAIS Lab. So it's a practical assessment exploration system. So as you can, kind of get an idea, this is a simulated work assessment. So you can see different boxes. Every box has it's like a kit, it's a workstation and a box. So the students come in and they are actually employees. And the teachers, we have phenomenal teachers in there right now. We have James Farrell and Gina Murphy that are in the high school. So we have them as the supervisors. So the students go in, they clock in, and they start their work day. So there's a lot of great things to know about this. Again, it's an assessment, but we're pairing it with the work experience out in the community. But one of the best things about this is that this is a data-driven, evidence-based program. So we're able to get this data and information from students that we never would have and be able to bring it to our CSE meetings, and it literally drives the IEP, and it gives students, like a direction for what their post-secondary goals are going to be. So it's so good that Rhonda was nice enough to get one for West Middle School. So really, again, what we're trying to do is bring this back. So our students are already getting more prepared. We're already seeing a wealth of increase of how the students are doing. So we're actually working right now with Felicia Thomas, because right now it's in a classroom, and what our goal is next year is to have the other two middle schools to bring their students over, as well as the freshman campus, so that we're able to service all of those students. So we need a separate classroom for that. So that's one of the things that Felicia's working on, and she's been great with that. The other important thing with this is that when our students go out and they might need accommodations or some sort of modification at a job site, the employers might not know how to do that. But we're able to kind of figure that out here in our PACE lab, and while the students are going out, we're able to make those accommodations so that we can go to the employers and say, this is a very minor accommodation, and they're going to be the best workers you ever have, loyal, and they'll do a great job, and we're already seeing that also. So it's just really exciting. Again, I just really want to note this also, and I'm really proud of this, and I'll tell you why later on in the presentation. But one of the things that we did also, Ms. Young purchased 2 pre-vocational kits. One of them is at the freshman campus, again, because we can't bring them to the PACE lab at this time. But the other thing that we're kind of excited about is that we're actually piloting out the other one at one of the elementary schools. So I might forget to tell you, so I'm going to tell you now. So later on in the presentation, I'm going to tell you about one of the universities that we're working with. And when we were talking about some of the work that we're doing here, they were actually so impressed that we were going to the elementary school that they asked if we can, give them some feedback, and what we're doing. So, it's pretty exciting to be doing some of the work that we're doing here. So the next thing, that we kind of discussed is, because we're looking to kind of organize how we're working with our students so that we can actually serve them better. And one of the things that we worked on with Ms. Citron is to kind of come up with a flow chart. So this is actually going to be really helpful. You're going to see this change. But for now, we have 3 tiers, and then our tier S. These are for our level 1 students. What's really important about this, again, it's showing how students are going to progress through, through their, their academic career through the high school. But one of the things that's going to be important is that a lot of times we're sending our students to BOCES, but our students might not know what they want to do. They don't know the different options that they have. They don't know what they like. They don't know what their interests are, and they're not able to express it sometimes. So this is actually giving us a really good tool to be able to figure out where students are going to benefit from going to a BOCES program, and one that they actually want to go to, instead of just kind of keep flipping and going like halfway through a year and then having to change. So the next thing that's really exciting is to work on getting our students 21st century, ready. So one of the ways that we're doing that is through our career development and occupational studies. There's a lot of benefits to this also. There's 2 different options. Option 1 is actually like the gold standard on what we want to do. So that is, I'll just go through it really quick. It's 216 CTE course hours. 54 of them at least have to be work-based learning. There could be more. There's an employability profile, a career plan, and students have to meet some standards, CDOS standards. The second one is was a really fun project we worked on last year. We piloted out an assessment. It's called 21st Century Success Skills. We actually were able to have the company give us access to their industry certifications and tests. So we ended up having over 400 students take an exam. So this exam shows that the students are entry level, ready for employment. And out of that, we had 177 students pass that assessment. This year, in January, we opened it up to all of our senior special ed students graduating and our graduating juniors. And we also opened it up to our first half of the year business students. So we had 144 students take it, we had 83 pass. The exciting thing about that, when I was talking to the company, is that we had a 10% increase in our students passing the assessment from last year to this year. And we're going to see those numbers grow because we're going to do a little curriculum writing, and we're going to embed this into some of our English classes and some of our business classes. So that is going to be a great opportunity. And I just want to thank April McNamara, because she actually came on board at the beginning. It was like the one person that believed in it with me and helped out.
I just wanted to add, some of our students struggle with the Regents assessments, so having this CDAS credential will help them obtain a local diploma. So it's going to help increase the graduation rate for many of our students.
Yeah, thank you, sorry. So it is, I'll just add to that. So this is part of graduation. It could be in addition to a Regents diploma or an advanced Regents diploma. It could be used as a 4+1 pathway for students who might have difficulty passing one of the social studies regions. It also could be a standalone for gen ed or special ed students, or it could be, like Ms. Young said, used as a superintendent determination for a local diploma. So, but it's just good to have. So the next one is community partnerships. So I'll try to go through this really quick. Businesses are, just fabulous for us to partner with for our students. It gives a lot of opportunities for our students, for them to learn about different jobs in the community. It gives jobs to students in the community. I definitely could, this is an area that I want to grow in. There's a lot of businesses out there, and it's hard to hit the pavement running when we're doing so many fun things in-house, but we are making a lot of connections. I know we mentioned last year we connected with HIA Long Island, so that we have access to all of their businesses. But one of the things that's exciting is we have teachers coming down to talk to me about different job openings. We have other outside companies that are like, we heard about, the work that you're doing in Brentwood, so we want to connect. So agencies is another important step for our students with disabilities. Access BR is adult, career, and continuing education services for vocational rehabilitation. That is a state and federally funded agency that works with individuals that have any kind of disability that has an impediment towards employment. So based off financial need, they can pay for college, they can pay for tech programs, they can assist with work. I could go in for hours on different programs that they have through there. One important thing to know, again, bringing it back a little bit, we have a pre-ETS program that we piloted out in our freshman campus. So students are learning about how to get jobs, self-advocacy, and they get a $75 gift card at the end of that. So, Mr. Otero and Dr. Wheats have been great with that and assisting with that as well. We also have expanded our opportunities through OPWDD. We held 2 CCO events last year. Our goal is to add that extra tier onto that flow chart once our students actually have access to OPWDD, because I think I mentioned last year we were approved for an employment training program where students will get paid their last year in school, and then it will transfer over when they go into the adult world and continue on there. And then the events, we've just hosted a lot of events to assist students and families. We had HIA come in to do a Young Professional Day, so you see that on the screen. We had over 150 students there. We had Suffolk County Community College come in to do disability services for our students who are going to college that have a disability, so that they understand the process of getting those accommodations and self-advocating for themselves once they leave here. There was a need for guardianship, so we had an attorney come in to do a guardianship event. We had Access VR orientation during the day, so Barbara Perini is also works in transition, and she's done a fabulous job with that. We did a night event for the families. We are partnering up. This is exciting too, because one of the things that we did is we decided with with what Ms. Young said, we're bringing a lot of the services back in-house, so we're partnering up with Career Ed and Mark Ingram to do the mock interview day. So we have some of our students doing that. We have another transition fair coming up in March. Last year, one of the things was we weren't getting too much cooperation with some of the work we were doing, so we decided just to do it ourselves. So we had an on-site with Eastern Suffolk BOCES, and Access VR has been really doing a lot more work, so they were doing a lot of virtual meetings. It wasn't as successful, so now they're coming in to do them. All right, so this is where it gets really fun. So current and future opportunities is what we're going to start talking about. So last year, I know we were kind of obsessed with the Department of Labor and why we can't have them come in school. So Mark Ingram does a great job in the summer with the Department of Labor. We have a great program that he runs during the school year, but we kind of felt like we could do more, so we ended up getting the Department of Labor to give us a yes in October. So we started our first small group of students in the school. One of the things that we kind of talked about also is the apprenticeship, and that is going through the Department of Labor. What we're doing with that, I'm going to explain that in a second. But we also received a grant. The Department of Labor also received a grant in January, so we ended up getting more slots. So I talked to Mark today, and between all of that, we were able to get an additional 40 students working through, in the school. So that was pretty exciting also. The other thing that we want to do is that we have all these wonderful students working. We want to be able to give them option 1 for CDAS, right? And then another thing for the CDAS is BOCES, because some of our students might not make that CTE pathway, but we can probably give them the CDAS, so we're working closer with BOCES with that also. So the next thing that was really exciting, I was doing a lot of work. I think I talked about this last year at the board meeting. There's a lot of apprenticeship buzz when you go out into the community. However, they talk a lot about colleges, but we're not talking a lot about our high school students. So again, one of the ways to kind of combat that is to do it ourselves. So we actually applied to New York State to see if it's possible for us to do an apprenticeship here. And we had a site visit 2 weeks ago from the New York Department of Labor to move forward on an apprenticeship program. So we last year decided we were going to try to do one student where they were working in the community in a classroom, almost like as like a teacher aide, but in the hopes that we could go into like a teacher assistant program for students who were leaving, and then maybe eventually go into teaching, but kind of get that experience for students when they were here. So we started off, a lot of the programs I'm talking about, I'm excited about, because we start off in special ed and then we bring it to gen ed and our E&L students and everyone. So this started off in special ed. We had our first student go into Oak Park, so the administrators there have been amazing, and the students are doing phenomenal. We're now up to 7 students that are working in the classrooms doing this. So the consultant that we're working on with the apprenticeship program was actually very impressed with that.
Yes.
So we're excited about that also. The goal is to expand that so that we can go into the community and we can have our students working in apprenticeships all over Long Island, hopefully. The other thing that we're, or maybe the whole world, I don't know. Why stop? So the other thing that we're excited about is a GED program. So we partnered with a Long Island EOC, they're out of SUNY Farmingdale last year. The woman who is in charge of that is very passionate as well. So we ended up piloting it out with 15 students. We had 5 students get their GED from that, which actually is very exciting, and we were really proud of that. And the best thing that came out of that, she told me, is that one of our students scored the highest on the GED test that she's ever had. So, so I think we should be really proud of our students, for doing so well with that. And she's actually trying to get some of those students to go into like a bridge program that they have there at the college to go straight on to college. So we didn't want to stop there. So one of the things that we knew about is called the Alternative High School Equivalency Preparation. It's the AHSEP. We applied for that through New York State last year. We got approved, I think within like 2 days. We were really excited about that. What's different about that is that instead of students having to wait until their cohort graduates to go into a typical GED program,
this is actually for our younger students for 16 up to 20. So the great thing about this is that we're partnering with the LIEOC. So I know it's a budget meeting. So one of the things that we're doing is we're having the LIEOC work a lot through their grants to cover this program. So this is usually a very expensive program, and that's why you don't see it in schools a lot. So, so we're still working on this, but this is something that we're hoping to get through and start as soon as possible. And then one of the other things, I know we talked about like different garments and, you know, bringing some business into the school where our students can work. So one of them was doing t-shirts and sweatshirts and different things like that. So our students actually started at one of them last week, and we're looking to maybe partner up and do scholarships and different programs with them. So we're really excited about that as well. And I know this is actually, what is it called? Like where it's, you don't want to get in trouble for it, but a lot of our students who were planning to go to college for one thing and we're very set on it, once they start doing some of our teaching, all want to become teachers. So I have students coming into my office all the time now telling me this, which is pretty exciting actually, and they all want to come back to Brent, which is even more exciting. So junior achievement, this is one of the programs that we talked about, again, bringing it back into the younger grades and going into elementary schools, middle schools, freshman campus, high school. So this is a worldwide nonprofit that prepares students for the global economy. So this is career readiness, entrepreneurship, financial literacy. The goal is to be in all buildings, so I'm excited because we have gone into all the elementaries or scheduled them except for one elementary school we're in. We just had an event yesterday at one of the middle schools at South. I just had a meeting today for the freshman campus. So there's many different programs there. One of them is High School Heroes, where the high school students and middle school students go down into the elementary schools and teach. JA for a Day is similar, except there's industry partners. So there's a lot of great opportunities. One thing I just want to show on the top right, Greg Walters is a teacher on special assignment at South Middle School, and he does such amazing work there that we actually received School of the Year and went into the city and received an award for the work that he's doing and a lot of the other teachers in the district are doing. So just want to acknowledge that. And I don't want to say I left the best for last. It just happened to be this way. But this is, the only way I can explain this to people is if you are a football fan, this is the Super Bowl for people who are in transition. That's how exciting this is. This is actually a possible study that we are hoping to do. It is through the United States Department of Education, the American Institute for Research, Social Policy Research Associates, the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and the University of Kansas. And basically, they are doing a longitudinal study, which is exciting because a study on this magnitude hasn't been done since 2012 that I can find. But it is a study that is going to be longitudinal. It'll be 4 years. They're looking to do something in schools for 2 years. It would start in the fall of 2024. The study itself would start really in the spring of 2025, and it would go until December 20, actually, I think it's June 2026. I'm not sure that that's correct. It's June. So, and then it would follow students 2 years after that. It's an actual traditional study, so there's 3 groupings. 2 of them are for transition, and one of them is a control group, which is a business as usual group. They will follow, we're talking about our sophomore students now. They'll follow them their junior and senior years. We're going to look at the impact that they have on students up to 2 years after. So it's going to be employment, college, tech programs, anything that they do afterwards. The exciting thing, again, because it's a budget meeting, that they will cover 3 of our teachers' salaries to actually work on this project. So we are working with them right now. This is an evidence-based practice, and it is, the curriculum is self-determination learning model of instruction. The great thing about this is that the curriculum is coming out of the University of Kansas. Nobody has access to it. We will have access to it. We are allowed to keep that. curriculum afterwards, it is based off of the self-determination theory model, and really what that does is a lot of goal setting for students. It will be good for every student, every human being, what they talk about in this theory, and it has a lot to do with self-determination and what students can do. So we can take that curriculum afterwards and we can use that with our gen ed students as well.
Stony Brook is actually putting together a research program called SPARK, so it might be something that we can provide to our students and their families. It's actually the transition from high school to college, from 18 to 21.
Okay,
So it's actually something I signed up for with my son.
love it.
Yeah, I'll send you the information.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just, in closing, this is my part. I just want to say thank you, to our department, to all of our teachers, to the board and central administration, for all the support with this, because it takes everyone to make sure that the transition is going so smooth. So I appreciate that.
Let's take a look at the budget. The special services budget on average is approximately 15% of the overall district budget. So we're going to look at Budget Series 2030 is the special education code that includes administrators, clericals, and CSE supplies and materials. We are projecting to spend $2,240,472, which is a 7.76% increase due to salary increases and one district level administrator being removed from a grant. There is also currently one vacancy included under this series. The 2050 is our program handicap series, which includes our special education teachers, clericals, BOCES, contracted providers, supplies, and materials. We project to spend $73,437,677, which is a 13.98% increase from the year prior due to increased enrollment, BOCES, needs, and salary increases. Series 2251 has been relatively stable. There is one senior account clerk for Medicaid and her overtime included in that series. This is a 2.37% increase from last year. Series 2255 is the learning disabled. This includes mostly resource room teachers, materials and supplies, and mileage reimbursement. This budget is projected to be $5,810,077 with a 15.94% increase due to salary increases and growth. 2260 is our speech budget series. This code includes mostly speech teachers, a clerical, materials and supplies, and mileage reimbursement. We are projecting to spend $4,651,874, which is a 5.77% increase due to salary increases and growth. 2815 is our health services budget series. This includes our nurses, health aides, and 2 administrative salaries. We are projecting to spend $3,567,148. This is a decrease of 1.70% due to a decrease in salary costs resulting from new hires that replace higher paid employees that retired or resigned. 2820 is our psychological services series. This series includes psychologists, clericals, mileage reimbursement, materials and supplies. We are projecting to spend $2,950,613, which is a 7.42% increase due to growth and salary increases. 2825 is our social work services series. This series includes our social workers, mileage reimbursement, materials and supplies. We are projecting to spend $2,568,836. That is nearly a 20% increase due to growth, and many of our new social workers were funded under the ARP funds that ended, so they were placed on the general funds budget. The total proposed special services budget for school age is $95,260,060, which is a $10,600,000 $678,680 increase from the year prior. This is a 12.62% increase. So, if we look closely at that $10,678,680 increase, you will notice that 54% of the total budget increase is for serving students in our out-of-district programs, which is a $5,792,865. We look at the increase, they went up a lot. Part B, formula grants assist states in providing a free and appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment for children with disabilities. Like I said, students ages 3 through 21, we receive Part B funding. That's through our 611 grant. We receive $5,149,559 from that grant, and 15% of that, because we are identified for LRE and also for the number of black males classified as emotionally disabled. So we were able to use that money to pay for the PM pediatrics. We also received $293,347 from our 619 grant. And again, we used a small percentage of that to buy laptop computers we used a small percentage of that to help assist us with the assistive technology provider. Okay. This slide demonstrates the funding we get reimbursed from the state and the county. The New York State Education Department STAC and Medicaid unit is responsible for processing requests for reimbursement for the cost of providing services to preschool and school-age students placed in special education programs. This funding typically takes 2 years to receive. We file for reimbursement every year. The state supported and the above slide includes some of our high-cost in-district students. The formula for reimbursement is the annual tuition cost minus the district threshold multiplied by the full-time equivalent multiplied by the excess cost ratio equals the reimbursement rate. In 21-22, we received a $43,841,000 back. The excess cost ratio was 0.820. So if you look closely at the slide on the left side, it'll show you the total special education budget was $64,511,044. We were reimbursed for $23,639,309, just under 37%. So we got 82% of the total cost after we subtract the threshold. So everything over the $43,841 threshold, we get 82% back. I would like to thank my administrative assistant, Barbara Steffens, and principal clerical Lynn Mitchell for their assistance with this process. I also would like to thank, obviously, Stacy O'Connor and Eric Carlin, because they help out a lot with the budgetary stuff. Okay, Medicaid reimbursement. We have a really great clerical in that department, Carol Motika. If you look at what we get back from Medicaid reimbursement, I mean, it's just amazing. And Eric Carlin also helps with this process. And now we have Catherine Scarf, who also joined the team, and she helps with getting money back as well. In Medicaid reimbursement, we actually are able to stack for reimbursement for not stack, but to file for reimbursement for transportation costs for our students with IEPs, and also for OT-PT services and speech services. We don't really get a lot back for counseling services, because in regard to Medicaid, they want you to be licensed to provide the counseling services, and many of our psychologists are certified psychologists, for school, but they're not licensed. Okay, so we got a lot of back, over $3 million, so I'm proud of that. All right, so CPSC reimbursement, so this is the money that we get back. The slide shows that we received, what we received in CPSC administrative costs, tuition and evaluation reimbursement, so we get money back. The CPSC cost is what we get back for the people who sit on committee for the preschool meetings. And the tuition is what we get back for the students attending our EIP program. And also, we are an evaluation site, so we actually could provide preschool evaluations across Suffolk County to anybody, but we really don't have the manpower to do it, but we're able to get reimbursement back from the county for those services. Okay. Next steps. Although we have made tremendous progress, our department continues to face challenges. We need additional service providers to address an increase in high service mandates in OT, speech, and counseling. Additional bilingual evaluators. We have been doing interviews for speech evaluators, and we're just not getting a lot of bilingual evaluators, to apply for these jobs. We're hoping that, we're able to get more. We're going to be posting another posting, looking for a bilingual evaluator, I believe, like next week. So
Yes.
we're doing that. We haven't been able to. You want to speak about
Well, I
it?
just wanted to make clear, when we talk about a bilingual evaluator, an individual could be a bilingual individual, speak 2 languages, 3 languages, however many, but there is a certification that goes along with that in order for them to be a bilingual evaluator. So I look for that bilingual extension piece, which many people come in and they say, oh, I'm bilingual, in that I can converse in 2 languages, but without that bilingual extension, they are not certified to perform those bilingual evaluations. There are a lot of additional pieces that have to be taken into consideration when evaluating a student who speaks 2 languages, because you have to weigh heavily on the language acquisition piece versus what could be disability piece. So that's the part that we're missing. Not that we don't have people applying that speak 2 languages, we don't have people who have the additional certification that it requires.
Okay. We have a need for additional behavioral supports for students exhibiting maladaptive behaviors, increased training opportunities for teacher aides and teacher assistants, curriculum alignment and increased academic instructional support in science. And in math for grade 9, we would like to bring pre-algebra down to the 8th grade, which is currently in the 9th grade center, and we would like our students to be exposed to algebra. So to begin that process, we probably will start next year with a split. We'll look at the kids and we'll see how they're performing, what levels they're on in the area of math, and see the stronger kids, we probably place them on an algebra track, and those students that are weaker performer, we'll put them in a pre-algebra so that they can learn additional foundational skills. And then they'll take the algebra when they get to the high school. The other thing that we'd like to do is we'd like our kids to be exposed to biology and the 9th grade center. Right now, they take, they're introduced to biology, but it's not a full course in biology, so it's over 2 years when it really should be 1 year. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer the biology in 9th grade center starting next year, and we're going to add additional support. Also, the students who take the algebra course, we're going to build a lab in so that they'll have additional support as well. It's a different, they would take that at the high school in the 10th grade. Yeah. But in earth science, in earth science is, but earth science, I was going to say that. Yeah. Right, so earth science is a very difficult course for our students, so I know that we opened up a new course for our kids to be able to get that physical science piece, right? Project-based. Yeah, we're going to offer a project-based learning to be able to pick up for the 3rd credit in science, because many of our students do struggle with the earth science. Yeah. Right. So did you hear that? That they're going to open up a project-based science class?
We'll follow that.
Yep.
That's, I want to make sure that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so we need additional space for our EIP and related service providers. We're working on that. I'm grateful to Minerva, Ms. Feliciano. She was able to find space in our building because we had a lot of kids sitting at home not getting services. So I'm glad that we were able to offer something. So we're looking forward to the program, but we still need space. We're still scrambling to find space for the related service providers to set up a desk and office space. So that's one of the things that we're working on. Additional staff to support kindergarten screening. Right now, what we did was we were able to get some retired teachers to come back, speech teachers, to do the kindergarten screening. What we found this year is that after COVID, somehow the kindergarten screening for speech discontinued, and we found a lot of kids this year in the kindergarten centers that were nonverbal, and that we would have captured those kids had we had the kindergarten speech screening in place. So we did correct that this year, so I think it'll be better moving forward. OT, PT, that's another struggle for us. Well, not PT so much as OT. We currently receive support from 7 agency providers for OT and PT. We're starting to see a decrease in purchase services this year with the hiring of district staff. However, due to the high number of OT mandates and the increase in agency rates, this continues to pose a challenge. There's also a shortage of OT PT contracted providers available throughout Suffolk County. The shortage is forcing the district to hire more OT providers to meet the high service mandates. And I just wanted to say, I think because the kids are on technology and they're kind of not writing anymore, I think that's contributing to the high need in the OT mandates that we're seeing. Behavioral experts. Okay. So, as I stated before, we're seeing increased behaviors, including aggression, school refusal, tantrums, elopement, maladaptive behaviors. Many of our principals are getting injured. Our teachers are getting injured. Students are having difficulty with emotional regulation and behavior management. We propose to invest in trained specialists. We have current staff limitations. There's currently only 1 board-certified behavior analyst in the entire district. This psychologist is responsible for conducting district-wide evaluations and has extremely limited time to support students exhibiting these behaviors. We would like to hire 4 BCBAs, behavior specialists, to enhance student and family support. We would also like a BCBA to train and supervise teacher aides to become registered behavior technicians. We would like to offer the RBT certification to support staff. The training course is free, and the exam only costs $45. This year, we're projecting to spend $260,303 for approximately 14 students. If we were able to hire these trained professionals, we could service a lot more students than that.
Ask you something, that these CPA train us, the TAs, aren't most of these TAs from an agency?
Well, we would like to train our own to become behavior.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what-
no.
That's what she put down.
That's what I'm presenting here. Okay. All right. Strategic plan. So I presented this a while ago, and I changed my mind since I originally presented it, so I'm going to present it again a little bit, okay? So the coordinator of special services elementary department head of speech and hearing resigned to pursue a position in another district in July. The position remains open to date. I did get help from Denise Farrow and Elizabeth Sheehan this year. Denise took on speech, but Denise also manages our database, the ClearTrack database in district, and she also helps Lisa Landry with the verification reporting that really a lot of our funding is attached to. I think that the speech may be a little bit much for her. I think that the elementary position is a huge job for Elizabeth Sheehan only because the number of students attending our out-of-district programs increased. And prior to taking this position, Elizabeth Sheehan was an out-of-district person. Now, before Elizabeth Sheehan took that job, we had 3 TOSAs that oversaw the out-of-district program. When our students go to an out-of-district program, the TOSAs are usually, they serve as the case manager for those students. So that is the most difficult job of a TOSA in our building, is to handle the out-of-district cases, because many of those students have significant needs. It's just totally different from in-district programs. So Liz was unable to give up BOCES totally to a new TOSA that we hired, Kim Moreau. So she's still very much connected to the out-of-district students. She's still doing so much work in that area. She's on a lot of committee meetings. So what I'm proposing is to actually still make Elizabeth Sheehan and Denise Farrow coordinators, because when we originally proposed their assistant coordinator positions, they did not have any supervision attached to that role at all. It was a negotiated position with BIPSO. I would like to promote them to coordinators and hire a speech department head to help with the speech services. So that's just something that we're proposing, and we're hoping it's something that we could do, because I think that if we split the responsibilities of elementary, that they would be able to help more with
Rhonda, I'm going to have to stop you because you're saying names associated with a position. That's a personnel matter and an HR issue,
Oh,
and I don't
sorry.
want us to get into legalities and issues.
Thank you.
So you can state the position, but let's not name names.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's fine. So, yeah, so I would like them to, I would like to propose that the position be expanded, the elementary position. I think that we need a lot of help with the evaluations because of the number of CSE meetings you saw. I mean, like, we do like 5,000 meetings. So, and we don't have that many chair people to sit on these meetings. It's, the work that we do is tremendous. I mean, it's unlike any other district. And I think that we could use the help. So I take back my original request. I think that we could use that administrative position, but I also think that those 2 positions still need to be bumped up. Okay? All right. So we're getting to the proposed staffing requests. I'm requesting 2 additional TOSAs to review IEPs. Last year, we negotiated with BTA. Many of the teachers were being pulled from their classroom to sit on committees, and they sat on committee and they reviewed to just check the IEPs for any mistakes to edit, because they are legal documents. We changed that process. And so prior to the annual review, we only have 2 people actually doing this right now, but we expanded to offer overtime to additional staff. And actually, they review the IEPs drafts, not with any recommendation, just the draft prior to the meeting. And it's a huge amount of work. So we need more people to help with that process, and also with chairing the CSE meetings. All of the TOSAs that come over, we do have them chair. The IEP reviewers don't chair often, but they want to chair, because obviously, because Brentwood is so huge, it's an opportunity for them later when they retire, and it's something good for them to learn how to do. It's like, we wanted to do that at one point, and It was the consensus of the BTA at that time when the conversation came up for our teachers know our students best, so, you know, it's something, if you would like to have that conversation, we would be willing to bring people in and train them to learn our processes, okay? One social worker to offer all elementary 5 days support, all of our elementary schools, because right now we don't have that in all elementaries, but if we hired one, they would all have the support of a social worker at every building. 2 occupational therapists. I spoke earlier about the shortage of OT and the high service mandates. We need 3 secondary special education teachers, 1 for the freshman center, 1 for North Middle School, and 1 for the high school. Right now, we need an 8th grade at North Middle School. We don't currently have, enough 8th grade, right, in the, at North Middle School, and we'd like to expand that. We would like to, one of the positions at the high school, I think we were looking at a consultant, an additional consultant teacher. 2 speech teachers, we're hiring them now. I don't know if that number is going to go up because the students that are coming in for EIP have significant service mandates. And we also have a need for school age. We have students that we're having difficulty, right, finding a speech providers.
Yeah, there's a large increase in our new referrals this year. Majority of them have speech and language concerns, and so our in-district providers, our caseloads are maxing out. And we have students who are on home instruction for one reason or another, and to add that additional travel time, when a teacher could just go from group to group, is quite the burden. So our caseloads are being maxed out at the end of March, and we have quite a few new referrals still to attend to. And like I said, many of them are speech and language concerns. So the numbers are growing very quickly over the next months. I can see that's going to be happening.
For BCBA or behavior specialists, and so we're asking for that. And we would like to put 2 in our elementary. We were considering housing 2 in our 1 in each kindergarten center. To be honest with you, that's where we're seeing the behaviors the most. And then we would put the other 2 within our elementary buildings. And then we're asking for a clerical to be split between special services and human resources because of the high agency TAs. I mean, it's very hard to man that. And we would share that person with the human resources. And then we need a 0.5, well, the 0.5 is the shared clerical, and we need 1 clerical for registration to help the nurses. That seems to be a big issue with the immunization process. So that's what the nurses are asking for. And that next slide is our team. We take pride in serving the Brentwood community. And again, I would like to thank you all for all of your support and help. This was a very long presentation. We're doing so many things. I actually have a video to play. The only problem is, and I'm going to play it anyways, but the only problem with the video is there's no music with the video. But I just think it's worthwhile to see what we did, and I could speak to the video as it plays. This started off as a, right there. This started off as a 3-year project. We really didn't have any funding. Share your screen. Start it over. Jim could come over. Jim, can you help her?
I'm not sure because I think she can get it before.
Oh, right there. She got it.
No, but I think
Yes. It's
there.
right there. Start it from the beginning.
There we go.
Start from the beginning.
Hold on.
Okay. So this started as a 3-year project. Like I said, we had very little money. I went to Rich and Stacy O'Connor and I was like, we got to do something. With no money, Stacy and I, we put our heads together and Stacy said, well, she could have the guys come in from B&G, and they started with ripping out the carpet. You see, that carpet was very, very old. That was right outside of my office, so that's what parents would look at coming in to see the director. It was embarrassing. They came in, we worked with very limited funding, and just started around my office area, and we kept going as far as we could go with no money. And that's what this is showing you. And this is how we used to operate. You see the paper? It was just disgusting. And we'd sit around all of this mess, and that was the way we operated. The rugs you could trip over. And they came in and they just started ripping everything out. And we were able to get a lot done. And then IDA actually offered ARP funding to special ed, in addition to the ARP funding for the district. But I had to write a proposal, and I had to somehow attach kids to the building. And I said, wait a minute, we hold CSEs, we're an evaluation site, we're getting this money and we're going to use it to fix the building. And so we were able to get I believe it was $1.6 million to do the updates in the building through that funding. And I think it's a wonderful thing that we were able to do it, because it transformed the entire culture of the building. I mean, the employees feel valued. I would like to do, and these are just highlights, I would like to do a ribbon cutting before the end of the year. We're still working on getting a sign up on the building. We're working on, getting decorations on the walls, because it looks a little bit like a hospital right now. We don't have all the decorations, but we're working on it. Kids' paintings. Well, we're actually working on murals too of the kids. We want to bring the community into the building. So we actually, like the PS I Love You pictures and all of that, we are looking to put murals up on the wall of the pictures of all the different events that are happening throughout the district. Even the Green Machine, I have pictures of you in the mural from the tree lighting and all the different things that we do. So I would like to bring that in, and I think it would be nice for parents to see that sort of thing. So that's the front of the building. And look at the bathrooms. All of the bathrooms look like that. I only showed one. We do have a changing table in one of the bathrooms as well for the family. If you walk through, people say, well, where did you get this space from? It was actually a supply closet, and we were able to rip off the trailer and put the audiological booth. We made smaller CSE rooms. We put tables in the offices so that every administrative office is also a CSE room. We put offices in that we share with our TOSAs. This is where the parents wait. We're still waiting for the door to be fixed, but that's the receptionist. We made an office for the psychologist there. She kind of hooked it up in there. This is where our early intervention staff work. It's a shared space. And this is the front where our clericals work for the EIP program. So we're very proud. We took that ugly trailer off. And I would like to thank Stacy O'Connor, Mike Cruz, Buildings and Grounds, Eric Carl, everyone that could, we can't forget Daniel Calderon with the purchasing and all those purchase orders. But and the board for your support. It's amazing. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn the budget workshop at 8:10 p.m.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon Garcia. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Maria Malave. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.